and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. So I hope you've all been well, and again this video has been so highly requested that I couldn't not do it. And it's certainly something I've struggled to kind of adapt to and learn with over the last year of my law of attraction journey, and I'm sure, like I'm certain all of you guys have had exactly the same thing, so we can have a group chat about this. And I just wanted to share with you my experiences of how to deal with negative ninnies, as I call them. So as much as I would love to believe that the world is opening up to, you know, accepting everybody's beliefs and, you know, the way people want to live their lives, you know, there always will be discrimination. There will always be people who are doubters, negative people, and who just do not wish to believe anything more than what they choose to believe, and that's fine, that's their own choices. But sometimes people turn it from not only having an opinion but into, you know, being hurtful to people. And you know, it's no different with the law of attraction. It really isn't. And you know, when people ask me what I do on my YouTube channel, or you know, they say like, I've watched one of your law of attraction videos, I always get really worried, because I'm like, oh God, what are they gonna say? Like, is it gonna be really embarrassing? Are they gonna, you know, think I'm a crazy person? It is, you know, and as proud as I am of doing these videos, I do still get anxious of meeting new people and introducing the law of attraction, and I never force it upon people ever. Like, I definitely don't. But it's a big part of my life, so if someone wants to be a part of my life, they're obviously gonna have to, you know, be positive, otherwise they wouldn't be part of my life anyway. But I would never force anybody to like do any of the things I do or believe any of the things I do, because it's so personal and you can't just force someone to be spiritual. Like, it doesn't work, it doesn't happen. And I would much rather, because this has happened so much, a lot of people have knocked me for what I do and not taken the mick, but you know, laughed at what I do. And you know, even in my close friend group, like, people do take the mick out of the things I say or the things I do. But I know this works, and that's all that matters. And normally those people who are laughing about the things I say, like I'm going to manifest this or this is going to happen, I'm sat there a couple of weeks later like, well, it did. So people do believe it once it happens. And you know, in my old sort of friend groups, when I was going through like my spiritual awakening and stuff, you know, they would literally rip it out of me. They would laugh, they'd be like, that's ridiculous, like that is so not true. And then as soon as I was manifesting all these incredible things, they're like, oh my God, teach me, tell me how to do it, teach me. And you kind of just think like, why should I? Like, you've been so nasty to me about this and laughed at me and mocked me, and now you want me to help you do the same. And you know, of course, like, I'm a good person and I always would, but now I'm in a good solid friend group of positive people, like I don't have that. And you know, in my friend group, a lot of people do believe in what I do, and some practice it, and some maybe just practice positive thinking more than law of attraction. And of course, I only surround myself with positive people anyway, so they kind of are open to it already. But I think my family was probably the one set of people who I kind of knew wouldn't not support me, but I knew they would think it was absolute rubbish. And that was fine, because I didn't need their validation. I didn't need, you know, anything from them. I just knew that it was working for me. And as soon as it worked, and as soon as like all my big manifestations have come through, they've been like, oh my God, can you manifest this for me? Oh, can you have a word with the universe and like manifest this for me? And it kind of annoys me. And I am not ashamed to say it annoys me, because it's kind of like, why can't you be positive when I want you to be? Like, why can't you support me in my like spiritual life choices before it all happens and before it all manifests? And I think that just comes from accepting that people won't always believe what you believe, and they won't always support what you want to do, but that's fine. Like, it's absolutely fine. And as long as you're confident in yourself, and as long as you know your journey and you know your path and you know your true values, nothing else matters. It's sometimes a hard topic to talk about, and you know, like a lot of you guys have commented, and even like my life coaching people I talk to, you know, they say it's so hard to just like open up to their partners about it and to, you know, get them to support them. And I guess I've had this on a very small scale myself, and I've kind of been in a case of not wanting to freak them out with like everything I do. But at the end of the day, this is my life, and I can't lie about my life, what I do, what I believe, and how I live my life. And if, you know, that's not for that person, whether it's a partner, a friend, a family member, then do you really want them in your life? And that's what I kind of ask myself. It's not a case of they have to believe what I believe and do what I do. It's not like that at all. It's kind of a case of, well, if they can't support me and they can't uplift me positively, why would I want them in my life anyway? Like, this isn't the type of person I want in my life. So if you're ever faced with a situation of somebody being like, this is absolute rubbish, you're talking bollocks, like you're literally crazy, like the universe is not gonna bring all of this stuff to you, what I always do is I'm just like, okay, point taken, we'll see who's right. And then obviously I manifest and it comes true, and they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe on this occasion, like, I'll believe you. And I'm like, okay, well, what's it gonna take? You know, how many times am I gonna have to manifest all this amazing stuff for you to realize? And I kind of just like turn it into a joke. I'm kind of just like, okay, not a problem. I'm sat here with all my manifestations. If you can't still believe that, then you're silly. And I just kind of like, not turn it on them, but just turn it into like, well, kind of blessed. Like, I just turn it into a joke of like, well, obviously the universe likes me, like, because I'm getting all the stuff I ask for. It can be really hard, and you know, especially when religion comes into it as well. Like, a couple of people have come to me before and said that they're really scared about practicing the law of attraction because their family are very religious, or you know, their partners are really religious. And it's a really tricky one because I've not gone through that myself, so I'm not really sure on what the right thing to advise there is. I don't think there's a really right answer, but I guess if you feel that you could open up to your family and they would support you, then of course do that and involve them in your, you know, in your journey as such. But if you feel that it would damage and, you know, be really negative on your life, then maybe you shouldn't. And I'm not saying you should hide what you do or anything like that. Like, I'm such a preacher of you should be yourself, be free, like be free to love and all of that. And, you know, it's just so difficult when it comes to religion. It's so freaking difficult. And, you know, you kind of want to do the right thing and you want to be yourself and you want to be true to yourself. You don't want to have to live a lie or, you know, not tell people what you do because in fear of judgment. But I think you have to make that call yourself. Like, I can't say what to do or what to do for like the right or wrong way. But personally, if it was me, I would just maybe not tell them, but just say, this is my beliefs, this is how I see things, and it makes me happy to do this. I feel really positive, and it's a really positive thing I'm doing to the world. So that's where I'm at. Like, I wouldn't necessarily be like, I'm manifesting this is my vision board, this is my crystals. Like, I probably wouldn't be like that, but I would just, you know, if the conversation came up, I would just be like, well, this is how I feel. I guess I get asked a lot as well what my religious beliefs are, and I don't know whether I've covered this on this channel. So I used to be Christian. I was born Christian. I was christened, and I went to like Church of England schools. So Christianity was in my life from a very young age. I'm not necessarily saying that I believed it, but it was kind of like, oh, well, I don't know any different. So, and I always believed there was like a God or a higher force as such. Just because of experiences I'd had as a child and just how I felt as such. So when I became 16, I developed an interest in Buddhism, and all my friends were like, you can't just turn Buddhist. And I was like, yes, I can. Like, I can just turn Buddhist. So I really loved the way and the mentality and the peaceful side of Buddhism and meditation and spirituality. And I think that was probably just the beginning of my spiritual awakening, if anything. And Buddhism was a good introduction into that. And then when I was 18, So I kind of lost my religion for a bit. I kind of just didn't really believe in anything. Once I started work and got into my negative relationships, then when I left my first relationship, I then found God again as such, and I would say I was Christian. And then it kind of, for a couple of years, I definitely would have said I was Christian. And then it kind of just, like, that feeling just went, and it was almost a sense of it just didn't fulfill me anymore, and it didn't feel right. And I just kind of felt there's more to life than this. There's something more out there to develop on this feeling of the God ideology, and I want to explore it. And that's when I started hearing the word universe, and obviously the law of attraction started coming in. And, you know, I wouldn't call myself religious anymore. I wouldn't say there is a religion I conform to. I just believe in the universe. I call the universe God. But that doesn't mean there's in my world, a guy sat on a cloud giving me what I want. It's, you know, we're all part of the universe, like our energy systems, like we can all tap into this God energy and we bring it to ourselves. So I do believe there's like life after death. I do believe that, you know, there is something up there giving us, or down there, I don't know where it is, but it's everywhere basically. So I do believe that, you know, there is a godlike universe force which is alive and, you know, bringing things to us and stuff. But I feel like this could get a really heavy conversation of what I do and don't believe in, and that's not what this video is about. So that's a brief history of like my religious beliefs, and now I would just say that I'm not religious. I'm not atheist, of course I'm not, but I'm not religious. I'm just happy. I'm just spiritual. If I had to say anything, I'd just say I'm spiritual. And yeah, and people normally just don't really ask past that. But even now, like, I will have conversations with my friends out and about, and like my friends who do it, and like we'll be talking about things we've manifested, or like books we've been reading, or random things like that, and people will like listen in and start laughing, and that really bugs me, because I'm like, don't listen into our conversations. Like, you know, you're sat in this cafe, you don't need to listen to our conversations, like listen to your own. But you know, you're gonna get that. And even at like business things I go to, where I have to obviously talk about like my businesses and my couponing and stuff, and people are like, oh yeah, and you do the spiritual stuff as well, and I just don't see why it's laughed at. Because, you know, even if it was like Christianity videos I was filming or something, or, you know, Hindu videos I was filming, why should it be laughed at? And it is one of these like subjects which is laughed at still, and I don't see why, because it's actually probably one of the biggest things out there at the moment. So many people have read The Secret, so many people do positive thinking and things like this. So how is it so hard to just open and accept that little bit of extra spirituality? And, you know, I think the beauty of this is that you can do it to any level you want to. Like, there's no strict rules or like how you should do this or should do that. It's completely a personal journey, and completely how you want to go into it, you know, whether it's just positive thinking you want to do and manifestations, or whether it is like me and you do like a lot of spiritual stuff. But it is so hard to deal with like negative people and doubters. It really is, because it kind of like knocks you back a bit, and you're like, this isn't fair, like I shouldn't feel bad for what I believe in. And I think as well, it's difficult to hear that negativity or doubt from your like friends and family when you're trying to manifest things, because then you're like, oh, can I actually manifest this? So I'm going to tell you, yes, you can, and you shouldn't listen to these people. And I just always make a joke when people say to me like, oh, that's obviously not going to happen. I'm like, watch me. I'm just like, okay, let's see who's right. And of course I'm always right, like not in like a braggy way, but of course with the manifestation things I'm always right, because it does always happen, because I just believe it will, and I know it will. Like, it's been proven so many times. And you know, if someone maybe wants you to explain it to them, I have such trouble explaining law of attraction to people who are not open to it or have had any spiritual experiences in their life, I'm like, okay, how do I not make this sound crazy? And I guess a good way to explain it maybe would be that, you know, it's all about positive thinking, and that by leading a positive life and doing good in the world will bring good things back to you. And I kind of always explain it like the karma circle. What you put out there, you get back. So if you're positive and happy and want, you know, great things in life, you can bring those things to you. It's going to come back in a circle to you. So that's the really brief description I give, which seems to work. People seem to buy it, so we go with that. And then they get to know me and they're like, okay, this is way more than that. And, you know, I've got an example in my own life of my friend trying to like persuade her partner to do law of attraction, and it's kind of funny because she tries so hard and he's like, nope, I'm not doing it. And then he messages me saying, Emma, actually, like, I really want to manifest this. How do I do it? And I feel that he comes to me because he knows he's not going to have that pressure. He knows that I'm just going to give him the information and he can take that away with him and do what he wants to with it. Whether he manifests or not, he knows he is, and there's no pressure. And I think kind of because she's like, she wants it to happen so much for him, he's kind of like, okay, I feel pressured. So I think you definitely can't pressure people to do it. Like, I don't pressure people in my life at all to do what I do. I just let them naturally take an interest and naturally see things happen in their own life, and then I'm like, well, that's coincidental, isn't it? I was like, oh, that's the universe. So I just kind of like subtly drop it in and then hope that they will then take that information away with them and want to do something with it. And I think it's really hard for like my friends and family in my life to not do it, because, you know, they see all you guys' comments, they see my videos, they see the like success of them and what I've manifested and the incredible things I've manifested in my life, like my house and all the crazy stuff. And I think it's almost impossible for them to not believe. So if anything, my best advice would be to keep on manifesting. If people are putting you down and people are taking the mick and being like nasty to you or negative, just keep thinking, I'm so gonna prove you wrong. And the more you do it, the more they will like break down that wall and they'll be like, okay, this is really weird. I kind of believe this now. And at the end of the day, it's not about forcing people to do what you do. It's more about just having that support system there. So I have friends who absolutely think it's a load of rubbish, but they will still listen and they will still support. And that's all I ask from them, and that's all you should ask from them as well, whether it's family members or whatever. But if someone really can't support you and cannot look past it and is being horrible to you about it, then I think you have to really evaluate how much worth that person is bringing into your life anyway. And I've had it with family members. I have walked away from certain family members because I just can't deal with that negativity anymore, and I can't not be true to myself. I can't be anybody different from this person, and if that's not good enough for them, then so what? It's no loss to me. And you know, friends wise as well, when I went through like my friend group changes, once again, it was just the best thing I ever did, because it was just, I just wasn't being true to myself, and by allowing people to put me down and not support me was just holding me back. It wasn't doing anything good for me. So really, I think it kind of leaves you with the question of how beneficial is this person in my life? Are they bringing positivity into my life? Are they supporting me? Are they being loving? Or is this just like an energy vampire? Is this person literally detracting from my life and taking things away from me, which you don't want at all? But hopefully over like the next few years, and the more and more it becomes, you know, widely spread, talked about. Because I mean, you look at Oprah Winfrey, she talks about it all the time. So many celebrities talk about positive thinking and bringing things to you. The universe is mentioned everywhere, but people just don't pick up on it. And it's still kind of this taboo subject which people talk about but they don't talk about. And I like to think I'm one of those people who bring that conversation out in people. And you know, you shouldn't be ashamed of how you feel. You shouldn't be ashamed of what you believe in or what amazing things you can bring into your life. Definitely not. You should never feel ashamed to be who you are as a person. And I hope that the people in your life are positive towards you and, you know, help you and support you and motivate you as well as inspire you. So thank you guys for watching my video. I appreciate all your views and likes. I hope this has helped you out and given you a little bit of reassurance on the matter of negative ninnies, because yeah, they won't be negative for long once they see what amazing things you manifest. So don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I reply to them all and I want to hear your experiences. Like, how have you dealt with negative people or doubters? Any advice that I haven't mentioned, please put it down below, because I would love to hear. And I will see you in my next video, which will be next week. So don't forget to subscribe and I will see you then. Lots of love.